Rollo, the Villa View transfer bulletin. A few things have happened over the last few days. Obviously, there's a few rumours of signing a couple of players, and players' contracts have come to an end as well, and it looks like they're leaving. So just thought we'd jump on and have a chat about it. Rollo, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. There's always going to be a summer of change, wasn't it, this year? Whether we stayed in the Championship or obviously got to the Premier League, it was going to be a rebuilding job. And I remember saying when Smith came that he felt like the right man to do that pretty much everywhere he's been, his best players have been taken away and he's had to build a new squad. So obviously going up into the Premier League, we get to keep hold of our best players. There was always going to be those squad players that were inevitably going to leave. There's loanees, obviously, and then there was a few players out of contract. So I've got the list. Adoma, Hutton's gone, Jedinak's gone, and Tommy Elphic's gone. That's all we know so far as of Friday, 5 o'clock. I think Whelan's contract is up as well, but there's been no talk of him, so whether he's getting an extension or not, we don't know. What do you think about those four that have gone? I think we talked when we did the game after the video after Wembley. There's people that have served the club well over the last 3 years in the Championship, but to get promoted, you have to move on from that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think Whelan will go as well. I think I don't see a way in which he gets a new contract. So it's kind of like these contracts came to an end, and it kind of felt inevitable. Yeah. With all of them, the only one that I feel has a little bit of a case for the Premier League is Whelan. I mean, it's good that Dean Smith's not letting sentiment get in the way, because a few days ago, like, we've got this great atmosphere, the squad's all together, it's a great bunch of lads celebrating, but the crux of it is that they're probably not going to be good for us in the Premier League. So it's the right decision to let them go. Hutton's the big one for me, because he has been a great servant. He's been there since 2011, so you can't knock what he's done at the club. But it's the right time for him to move, and I'm sure he's emotional about it. There'll be fans that are emotional about it as well, because he's much loved. Let's face it. I mean, I felt a little bit upset about it. If you'd have asked me 3 years ago whether I'd be upset the day Alan Hutton left, I'd have been like, absolutely no chance. But
most people wouldn't have expected it to be another 3 years.
No, exactly. I mean, he's shown unbelievable application, desire, attitude, and unbelievable staying power as well. But it is the right time. Wouldn't surprise me if he ended up at Sheffield Wednesday with Bruce.
You mentioned Whelan, the one there that you think has maybe got a case for another year. That's more so for the experience he brings, isn't it? Obviously, you wouldn't expect him to feature much in the Premier League now. But for me, if you look at that list, I think out of the two that you'd look at that maybe you'd give the extra year for that sort of captain element was Jedinak or Whelan. Obviously, Jedinak barely plays, but what he offers to the players off the pitch is something that's invaluable. Obviously, captain at Palace and things like that. So for me, now the one that Jedinak's gone, I wouldn't be that surprised if Whelan did get another year. As much as I very much agree with the thing that, you know, there's no sentiment to be had, and I wouldn't want to be doing it for sentimental reasons. I just think he's probably played more than we thought he would, especially at the start of this year. As I say, I don't expect him to feature much in the Premier League, but to have him around the squad, like when you think of Glenn Whelan, and I think we've both met him a couple of times and we've done bits and pieces, but you think for like a player like that, you'd expect to be like very quiet, very professional, very level-headed, very, you know, keeps himself to himself. And the celebrations are going up on Monday. He's there giving it big, throwing champagne over everyone. It's like he looks like a good character to have around the place. And I feel like if he did get another year, I wouldn't sit there and think, oh, that's a terrible decision.
I mean, he's a bit of a joker, isn't he? Weird? And you saw him doing his Irish dancing as well after the game on Monday. I think he's been a good signing. He's done exactly what I would have expected him to do, and exactly what I would have wanted him to do over these last 2 seasons. And he's become very popular with the fans as well, which I didn't really see ever happening, because even at times this season he was not well liked by an element of the Villa fans. But fair play to him, like Hutton has done with me over the years. Whelan managed to turn those Villa fans round as well. I think Jedinak's a cert to go back to Australia from what I hear. He's had a great career in England, and he deserves to go home, so to speak. I mean, even at the end of the season he was making an impact, just coming on and taking that penalty, and you could see him and Dean Smith having a chat after the game on Monday, and you could see that Dean Smith was saying to him, you've been one of the most professional players I've ever worked with, because he's not played much football under Dean Smith, but you could just tell there was a massive amount of respect between the two of them. With Whelan, we've still got Bjarnason and Lansbury here, who've got a year or 2 years left on their contract. They're on relatively high wages as well. There's a chance both of them will be here at the start of the season. I think Smith likes Lansbury. I don't think he's so keen on Bjarnason. I expect him to go. So Lansbury would come in, would be maybe fourth, fifth choice midfielder if Whelan goes. You'd expect us to be signing a midfield player.
Yeah.
I would think that would be what we would do. So that's why I don't see Whelan staying for that reason, because I think we'll sign one, and I think we'll still have Lansbury here next season.
I think if you look at that list, apart from obviously Hutton, who's been here, 7 years now? 7 or 8 years he's been around the club. Obviously, different loans and stuff over those years, but everyone on that list was bought in at a time to get Villa promoted. They were signed in the Championship years to come in, get this club promoted. And obviously it's not happened as quick as we thought when we signed Elphick in that first summer to come in as captain. You think, oh, he's just won promotion with Bournemouth, go and do that again for Villa, please. Same with Jedinak and Palace, and Adoma had possibly not been promoted, but those sort of players come in and go, do a job for us. And it's taken longer than we thought, like I say, but they've done that now, and that's what they were brought in to do. We're now back in the Premier League where we feel like we belong. Those players have done that job. They're 3 years older than they were when we signed them. It's the right time, isn't it? It feels like. Yeah,
I think they've all got to be respected for what they've done. I think they all 100%. They all go away with their heads held high. Really, Elphick's just one of those ones. On paper, it was a great signing, and I think every Villa fan agreed with that signing at the time. The guy couldn't catch a break his whole time here. He's had so many things go against him, whether it be injuries. Steve Bruce has treated him badly on a couple of occasions in his time, but he's never really badly let us down, Tommy Elphick. And from the time at the training ground, out of the players I've met, he was such a nice bloke. You could just tell he was a top bloke. He stopped and had a chat with me, wanted to know all about how long I supported Villa for and stuff like that. And that doesn't always happen with everyone. So he's a good character, and again, he goes with his head held high. And all these players, I think Villa fans will now we've gone up, they weren't the best players in the world, all of them, but they'll all be remembered fondly, and every Villa fan will respect their attitude and what they've tried to do at Villa.
So before we go on to the incomings, it'll make a nice segue. Albert Adoma leaves as well. Obviously last year top goal scorer, not quite worked out the same this year, but again another player that goes with our best wishes. Yeah,
again an unbelievable character, a very popular man in the dressing room, and a really popular man in the stands as well. Some of his dancing will probably stay with me for forever. To be fair, he scored some goals against Blues last season, scored against Wolves as well in what were famous victories last season. He's been a good signing. When you look at, we basically swapped him for Adama Traore. I'm quite happy with that deal. I think Villa have had the better end of that deal over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
he looked like he'd lost a yard to me this season, so he was nowhere near as effective this season as he was last campaign. But it's not for a want of trying, is it? And that's, in some ways that's all you can ask of people, that they give their best. And I think all these players, Al included, that we found out about over the last few days, have given their best, and will take away some great memories from Adoma. And I think maybe there was a possibility he would have stayed, but he would have been a backup player.
Yeah.
Probably at this stage of his career, he probably just wants to play. He's in his 30s, but it looks like we're replacing him with a bit of a shock. I mean, I told you about this last night on the WhatsApp group, and I don't think anyone believed me. But now it's suddenly come out in the press that Hotter's coming in, obviously worked with Dean Smith at Brentford before, but coming direct from Blues. That is a bit of a shock.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where, like you say, you sent it, I sort of like, I don't know what my reply was, but I was sort of like, that's a strange signing. But then when we were speaking before we started recording today, like, I know obviously there's been a season since, or however long it's been, but when he signed for Birmingham from Brentford, I almost remember sitting here thinking, how have they managed to sign him? Like, decent player, like, obviously did well at Brentford. I almost feel like, obviously at this point nothing's happened. It's just, it seems like it's going to happen, but it's just rumours at this point, with Gary Gardner going the other way, another player that will be on the outs list. I don't know, it's just, I feel like all I can sit here and do is say that I trust what Dean Smith wants to do, I guess, and there's nothing we can really do about it.
Yeah, I think I've got 2 main thoughts in this. My first is that I'm personally not sure that he's a Premier League player, because I've never seen him play in the Premier League, so I couldn't tell you.
How many players have not played in the Premier League and done very well?
Yeah, you could sit here and say McGinn and Hourihan have never played in the Premier League. I'm in my head thinking that they're going to do well. So it's not really a great way to judge. My other thought is that I 100% trust Dean Smith, and Dean Smith deserves the trust of the Villa fans in whatever he decides to do with transfers, because I think we can safely say that's a Dean Smith signing. Although I think Petach has worked with him at Elba. I think it is as well. So they obviously both know him. So I don't think he'll be a first choice player. So like you said to me on the phone earlier, it's kind of like Adoma goes out, he comes in to be a backup on the right wing.
A couple of years younger as well, I think.
He's a silky player. He's very good on the ball and he's creative. And you would say other than Jack, we haven't got, and maybe El Ghazi as well, we don't have many people who can carry the ball and you would describe as a silky player. So we don't know what the fee is at the moment. I've seen 4 million plus Gardner mentioned. I don't believe that. As you said the other day, I think the fees are always way off when they're reported.
Like half of that, to be honest, maybe even less. When
they're reported in the press. So it could even end up being a straight swap. I've seen Blues fans suggest that they run so badly that it could even end up being a straight swap. I mean, they liked Gardner by all accounts, but they don't seem majorly happy by this news. They've said we're giving Villa our second best player and taking their 7th choice, 8th choice midfielder, which they don't think is great. So it's an interesting one. It's not one I expected to ever be talking about, but I think it will happen.
Any other incomings we want to mention? Any other rumours?
I've heard that the James Justin move is not looking good. I think that was looking in a good place, and Villa pretty much thought it was done, but whilst we'd be distracted by the playoffs, it seems like his old manager Nathan Jones at Stoke has swooped ahead of us. So it looks like he's going to Stoke now. So again, I don't know much about Justin, but he was highly rated. You kind of feel like if we were in the Championship, we were looking more at him than if we were in the Premier League. So I'm 50-50 on whether not getting him is a good thing or not if it doesn't go through.
Yeah, and obviously the one that we're all waiting for still at this point on Friday afternoon, unless it's happened in the last 10 minutes, is Big Tyrone.
I've been told that's done.
Yeah, I'm hoping it is. Everyone just seems to be waiting for confirmation. Everything that Villa tweets, just like, this isn't Tyrone Mings. Like, where's the announcement? The guy turns up at Bournemouth train station still wearing his full Villa kit, like a day after the game. It's just like, oh, what a hero! Like, what can you say about him?
Not many people could get away with doing stuff like that, but I don't think too many people are going to argue with him with the shape he keeps himself in. To be fair, I don't imagine there was many Bournemouth fans giving him abuse at the station. I've seen a few giving me on Twitter when they're hiding behind the computers, but not many people will go up to Tyrone Mings and give him any jip. I certainly wouldn't. I mean, I've heard that 10 million plus add-on, that's done. Tyrone Mings pretty much. So hopefully in the next few days we'll be able to have a video out of us talking about having signed Tyrone Mings. Same with Hawes and El Ghazi. I think Hawes is done. I think that was pretty much done when we got him on loan in January, and I think El Ghazi will 100% come as well. Twanzebe is the one that obviously we would all like to have him back. That's the one that I think's going to be really difficult, but I have heard that he would actually be interested in coming back. But to me, he's probably got a use at Manchester United, because I look at some of the centre backs they've got, and I would say Twanzebe is better than them and probably more suited for what Solskjaer will want to try and do than Smalling or Jones. So it's all ones to keep your eye on. But we could really do with getting all 4 of them back, really, to just start off on an even playing field of where we are in the Championship. Yeah. Because then you've got to replace them if you don't get that back, and we've already got areas we need to strengthen without having even talking about losing those loan players. So it's going to be an interesting summer. I think it's going to be a really busy summer, and I wouldn't think this will be the last transfer bulletin video that we do. Yeah, I think it's one of those things as well, that the reality of being back in the Premier League, that we're talking now in May about Twanzebe probably offers something to Man United. If they go and spend 100 million on 3 new centre-backs in the next couple of months, there probably isn't space for him, and that's a move that happens further down the line. Yeah. Whereas if you're not involved in this Premier League picture, you don't get involved in those kind of deals and those merry-go-rounds of the big team strengthening and then moving other players on. So it's just nice to be back, isn't it? Nice to be back in the Premier League. Still not fully sank in, Rolla. So I don't think I'm fully accepted it yet, but I'm starting to come to terms with it. And it's a great thing. I was watching Sky Sports News yesterday on my lunch because I was working from home, and when the ticker comes along across the bottom, and it says, like, he's got they're talking about the different teams. It says the league in red on the left hand side. It said Premier League, and it was talking about Jack Grealish not wanting to go to Tottenham. I think we definitely would have all taken that at the start of last season, and we'd have definitely taken it 3-4 months ago, and we'd have definitely taken it at the start of the playoffs. So it's all good news, isn't it, at the moment? There's nothing coming out at the moment that you're absolutely devastated by, which is a nice position to be in. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.